Hello, virtual educators. This is Kelly Austin, and in this video, I'm going to go over how you set up groups for the LTVD process. Now, for this video, I'm actually going to read everything that I have here on the screen and go over this little table that I've created, the two tables I've created, because I recognize that there are some of us who have been teaching online for forever, who are very familiar with the learning management system that we use, and then there are others of us who are just getting involved in distance learning. And so I'm not going to assume that you know how to do these things. So I want to, sometimes it's good when you can hear someone's voice, and then as you listen to me explain this, you can put your comments in the comment section or go over to our Facebook group, because your question may also benefit other people. So when you enter your course, you will see the list of students who have enrolled in the Grade Center. Based on the number of students, you will create groups of 5. If you do not have enough students to create groups of 5, groups of 3 or 4 are fine. The members of those smaller groups will just have to have some students to double up on a group role. For example, the timekeeper may also need to be the publisher, or the group leader may also need to be the timekeeper. Having students fulfill 2 roles happens often when enrollment is low in a course, and it's perfectly doable. So let's say you only had 12 students in a course. I would prefer that you have 4 students in each group and have 3 groups than to put 6 into 2 groups. Okay, because remember, when they're in the virtual classroom, they're going to be copying and pasting information. They're going to be sharing vocabulary terms, and you don't want them to have to sit there and wait for, 5 other people. If you have 6 people, 5 other people to share their vocabulary. So you want it to be as small and as intimate as possible. The reason why I suggest that you have 5 is because you have 5 group roles, and for some students, having to have more than one role when this is something new to them is overwhelming to them. They have enough to do to kind of remember more than one permanent role. They have enough to remember for that one permanent role, okay? Because they're already going to be doing the rotating roles, okay? So that's the only reason that I would tell you to do that. Now, students that have taken courses with me before, because I use cooperative learning in just about every single synchronous course, I use cooperative learning, a framework like this. Not this particular one with every course, but I use a systematic framework in all of my courses. And so students that are familiar with my courses, it's a breeze. They're used to doing group roles. It's not a big deal. But then I have some students that are brand new that may be taking my course for the first time. So it's just a judgment call with that. So since you are new to this process yourself, I would suggest to you that it'd be better for you to have 3 groups of 4 than to have 2 groups of 6. Try not to ever go over 5 in a group unless that you just cannot help it. It's better for you to make the group smaller, okay, than to have 6 people in a group. Please do not go over 5. All right. Now, breaking students into groups. If there are 20 students in your course, you can easily create 4 groups of 5 students. But what happens when there are 18, 19, or 21? In the case of 18 students, it's better to have 4 groups, 2 of which would have 5 students and 2 would have 4 students. With 19 students, you would have 3 groups with 4 students and 1 group with 5. The group should be heterogeneous and filled with students with different ability levels, and somehow it usually ends up that way without you doing any research. And when I say research, I mean, for example, if you have access to your students' transcripts as a faculty member, then you can go on and see what their GPA is, what other courses they've taken. If you want to do that kind of research, then certainly do that, so that if you want to make your groups heterogeneous, so that maybe you have some students that you see have high GPAs, some students whose GPAs are not so high. Maybe you have students that you can see may have been in school for a long time, others that have just been in school for a short time. You may see students that have taken quite a few distance learning courses, and others who have taken more face-to-face courses. If you want to do that kind of research, feel free. But I'm here to tell you that you really don't have to do that, because some kind of way, some way, shape, or form, when you're breaking the groups down, just by looking at the roster, you're going to have a mixture of students regardless of what you do. Okay, so to make it simple and fun, you can either count down 4 or 5 students. So like you have that list of 20 students, you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a group, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's another group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's another group. That way. Or you can get out the old school way that I like to do. It's just because it just depends on my mood. That I get out a sheet of paper and I do exactly what I've shown you here, where I just fold the paper into four. Because I never want to have more than 4 groups. You can manage with 5, but I would suggest that you have just 4 groups. Okay, so if I have 4 groups here, right, and I go Jane John, Jones, I'll go down the list. The first student on the roster goes under group 1. The second student on the roster goes under group 2. The third student goes under group 3. The fourth student goes under group 4. Then I go back up, the fifth student goes under group 1, and I do that all the way through. Okay, now again, if you have to have 6 just because there's no way that you can do it any other way, you have 24 students and you really want to do the LTVD, because I really encourage you to do that. To do it. If you have that and you have to do that, then 6 students is okay. It's not going to kill them. It's just that it's kind of a lot to sit there and wait for when you're online for 5 other people. But like I said, I've had 6 students in a group, and once they master it by that 3rd week, it won't take them as long to go through the process. And then again, based on the length of your articles, all of those factors are in play. Okay, now if you feel confident, I would have if I had 24 students, I would rather have 5 groups. And that's just me. And that rarely happens, but I don't know what your we have a cap on how many students can take an online course, which is 25 at our university. So I'm not sure if you have that cap at yours. And so if you have large size classes, then you probably are not going to want to have to be able to do the LTVD if you have really large size classes, because there's too many groups meeting online that you want to kind of monitor. Now, of course, I've told you that they can conduct this on their own. But for you to have a strong educator presence, let's talk about that right here. For you to have a strong educator presence, it is important for you to be in class. It's important for you to be sitting in front of your computer when they're in front of their computer, and for them to know that. Okay, although they don't know exactly when you're in each group, they'll say, Miss Austin, are you in the room? And I'll say yes, because they see my name, but they don't know action. I let them know that. They know that I may be in another group. Then they'll say, well, we had a question about such and such and such, and then I can answer that question. Or they may put the question in the chat box. So when I come over to their group, I can scroll up and down the chat box to see if there are any questions for me. Typically, if I've been out of the group and not, in that particular physically watching them, then I will say, I'm here. Do you all have any questions? Or, I'm here to answer questions once you finish this step, just to let them know that I'm there, and I'll sit there and I'll wait. Okay. These kind of things that I'm talking about are what I would teach you in the super course. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed with this, because what you're learning now is the foundation of the process. In the super course, we're going to go through all of that, how you set up the units, how you maneuver in between the groups, because it's quite a bit of information if this is something brand new to you, and meeting and doing cooperative learning online. It's a lot to consume at one time. So I would suggest to you, after taking this course, if you really want to, and you're really gung-ho and excited about implementing this, that you take the next step, which is the LTVD super course. This was the mini course. Take the super course, so that then I can help you, navigate through all of this, work through all of this. You certainly can get started, of course, with everything that I've given you thus far in the course. But if you want even more training, like we have professional development, if you want even more professional development, then the next phase for you would be the LTVD Super Course. Okay, so here is how I showed you how I get out a piece of paper, and I just love doing this at the beginning of every semester, and I break down my groups. I also try to make sure that there are no students with the same name in a group. So, look at things like that as well. Okay, so here you will continue this process until every student was placed in a group. So this is just showing you had a class of 19 students, how we have, 3 groups have 5 and 1 group has 4. Now, once the groups are laid out, it's time to create the group pages. Every LMS is different, so I provided videos for 3 of the most popular learning managed systems used today: Blackboard, Canvas, and Moodle. I've also included a video where I create group pages using Blackboard course sites, which I told you before that it's free. So I'm going to use that to show you how to create groups. If these videos do not suffice, you will have to contact your help desk, your IT team, or the instructional designers at your university or your college for support in this area. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one, and please don't forget to post any questions that you have in the comment section, and check back to see if I've responded, or head over to Facebook and post your question there, because your question might benefit other members of our group, of our learning community. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.